you are looking at Iron Mtn Gap in the Unica mountain range, and this is the Appalachian Trail southbound out of Iron Mtn Gap, which will eventually take you down to the Nolichucky River, but that's not the direction I'm going. I am heading northbound out of Iron Mtn Gap. If you saw my segment, how to do an Appalachian Trail section hike, this one is joining me on an Appalachian Trail section hike. So we're going to talk about some trail hacks. We're going to go over some considerations that I think about on an Appalachian Trail section. So the things I think about when I'm out on a hike. I have a plan for the weekend. That plan includes 7.2 miles today, 14 to 16 miles tomorrow on Saturday, which leaves me with 7 to 9 miles on Sunday. So let's talk about today's plan. I'm hoping to get to a place called Little Rock Knob Vista because according to some notes I've read on the Gut Hook app, which I'll talk about in a second, it's got a nice view to the northwest, and I'd love to catch a sunset tonight. We'll see if I get lucky on that. One of the things about this place is when you're camping up high, usually there's no water. So as I've mentioned before, if you watch my segment on how to do an Appalachian Trail section hike, I think about where am I going to camp, where am I going to get my water. And when you're usually camping on a mountain peak, there's no water. It's a mountain peak. So about a mile before that location is a water source. And I've checked my Gut Hook app in the notes. That water source should be flowing pretty good. So I think I can rely on it. So what I'm gonna have to do is stop at that water source and fill up with water. So those are one of the things I'm thinking about on this hike, or at least on this day on Friday. The question I ask myself is, what if this plan doesn't work out so well? What if I get to Little Rock Knob Vista and the weather's not so good? When you're up high, you have to worry about winds, and you have to worry about the fact that you could be exposed. So if I'm worried about the weather tonight and I'm worried that the winds might be too high and it could be a little dangerous, I'll have to make that decision when I get there, and I might need to continue on. So what is my other plan? There is a water source beyond Little Rock Knob Vista, and that's probably where I'll continue if I can't camp on that vista, but I'll basically be looking for a campsite at that point. Little Rock Knob Vista does not have a listed campsite on the maps. So how do I know there's a campsite there? Well, I've mentioned to you more than once the Gut Hook app. And on the Gut Hook app, there's some notes from a hiker who has written that there's a stealth campsite up there. Stealth means that, well, it's not on the maps, but there's certainly a campsite up there, according to the notes, that can fit about 4 or 5 tents. So I know there's a campsite up there. I can rely on this information. And we're gonna see how it works out today. Some lingo for you real quick. I talked about the southbound. I showed you that direction. You know, Appalachian Trail hikers will say sobo, you're heading sobo. I'm heading northbound, so we'll use the term nobo. On this particular hike, I'm heading solo. In Appalachian Trail speak, that means solo. Okay, so why did I plan to do 30 miles in a 48-hour period? 7.2 miles today, 14 to 16 tomorrow, maybe as much as 16.6 tomorrow, leaving me with 9 or 7 miles on Sunday. It's not because I'm trying to set some record pace. Basically, this plan matches my pace. I can get 16 miles out by 4 o'clock if I start at 7:30. That's a pace I enjoy. Believe it or not, I still get to see a lot of nature on that pace. I know some people who try to do 30 miles a day here in the Carolinas. Well, I've heard of those individuals. That's not me. Then there's other individuals who would only do 10 miles on Saturday. Do what is best for you. So if you've never been out hiking on the Appalachian Trail, you've never backpacked, you've never spent the night, you may not know this answer. And I would tell you to do what I did when I returned to the trail back in 2015. I set low mileage. I didn't know what kind of shape I was in. I didn't know, I really, to be honest, didn't even know the term trail legs back then. But I kind of inherently knew that yeah, I might want to take it easy until I really understand what I'm doing. And then once I became comfortable with further miles, like I'm doing tomorrow, I up my pace. So for me, 14 to 16 miles is about right. You may be an individual who likes a 20-mile day or a 10-mile day. And to emphasize, that's something you have to figure out on your own. For me, in my opinion, as long as you're having fun and you're enjoying the outdoors, who cares? You know, choose your distance and go for it. So let's talk about Project Blaze real quick. In the last segment, how to make coffee on the trail, or I should have named it How I Make Coffee on the Trail. Maybe I'll go back and rename that one. I mentioned that I might add a new charity to Project Blaze. I'm not gonna do that. I think that might just confuse Project Blaze a little bit, and let's just focus, at least for the near future, on domestic violence awareness. And if I decide to add a new charity, it may not even be this year. Who knows? I think focusing on domestic violence awareness is a good one to focus on. And if it's the rest of 2021, I think that's a good idea. So we'll just kind of let the future dictate to me how we're going to work this. Are we hiking to raise awareness for domestic violence? Well, no. I'm hiking because I enjoy it. If I wasn't hiking as a part of Project Blaze, I'd still be out hiking. I'd probably still be carrying a GoPro recording my videos because it's fun. That's why I do this. But as I mentioned before, I decided I would also decide to do something maybe good. Maybe I can help out a little bit while I'm out having fun in the wilderness and hiking. Go into the description and you'll see links to the Joyful Heart Foundation, which is a national organization founded by Mariska Hargitay. And then Sister Cares, local to South Carolina. If you're not from South Carolina, I promise you can find an organization in your state to support. Doesn't have to be through me. The goal is that I'm raising money for the victims of domestic violence. And then there's the direct organization. When I say direct organization supporting the victims of child abuse. That's Bikers Against Child Abuse. They have a very strong presence with their local chapter in South Carolina, but they are a national and international organization. So if you want to follow the link in the description to Bikers Against Child Abuse, you can find a local organization in your state if you don't live in South Carolina, or support the national organization, or if you believe in the global community, support the international organization as well. That's all I'm going to say on this hike about Project Blaze. Let's get back to it. Well, this is called Little Rock Knob Vista. I've now done 7.2 miles today. It's like 2:30-ish. And it's gorgeous up here. I'd love to stay for the sunset. I'm not going to. See the clouds building up? So there's only a 30% chance of thunderstorms tonight. Tomorrow the chance of weather increases significantly, and I'm trying to get over the Roan Highlands before it's too bad, or wait it out till it finishes. And my instinct tells me that if I stay here tonight, I'm going to wake up to a really windy, rainy situation. I've done that before, and it's not fun. So I'm not going to do that. So I've already dumped my water, which kind of, the die is cast. I've crossed the Rubicon, if you will. I'm going to continue to another water source, and I'm going to continue to another campsite. And we'll see how long, how far away that is. The next one on the map is 5.3 miles. Don't know if I want to go that far, but gotta do what I gotta do, so we'll see how long it takes to find another. It's 8 o'clock at night, Friday night. I'm talking a little bit quiet because there's a lot of tents around here, 5 others. They're all through hikers, which is really neat. I ended up doing 12.6 miles today. I'm at a place called Ash Gap. I didn't want to do 12.6 miles today. I started at 10:30, 10:45, finished about 5:15. With the terrain I climbed, I'm a little bit tired, but I'm happy to be out here. It's really, really nice to be back on the trail, as always. The good news is I'm over halfway up Roan Mountain, which is the biggest climb of this trip. I did that today because I'm trying to set myself up for tomorrow. Tomorrow, weather's moving in across the Roan Highlands, and it's going to be windy and rainy, and that can make for not the safest environment. So I want to get over the Roan Highlands before the bad stuff moves in. Yeah, you can see I'm set up in here. This is my sleeping bag. And what I'm going to show you is inside, I've got my shirt, my hiking shirt. So here's the first trail hack, speaking of shirts. Personally, I hike with 2 sets of clothes. I hike with some camp clothes, which I'm wearing right now. I'm wearing a cotton shirt. I never wear cotton on the trail, but I like to have that comfortable cotton shirt at campsite. My moisture wicking shirts that I wear while hiking, and this is 2 pair you're seeing, the short sleeve and then the long sleeve. They will go in the sleeping bag with me tonight. How is that a trail hack? Well, I don't know how many people do that, but what it does is while I sleep, it warms these up, and if they were a little bit wet from either sweat or a little bit of rain, as I sleep, it'll dry them out also. So there's a trail hack for you. Speaking of rain, saw some today. If you remember when we were at the Rocky Overlook, and I mentioned I didn't have a good feeling about staying there. My instinct told me to go ahead and go further. And I ended up going that other 5.4 miles that I didn't really want to, but that's where I am now, 12.6 today. Sure enough, a rainstorm came in about a mile out from this campsite. It's a pretty good one. And I say rainstorm. It had hail or sleet or whatever you want to call it, little white ice crystals. So it got chilly. So that was a lot of fun. So I had to get on my rain gear really quick. And that's where my trail name comes from. My trail name is Monsoon. Whenever I hike. Well, it's about 8:20 a.m. Don't know if you can hear me over all this wind. I'm at the highest point of my weekend, and what you're looking at here is the remnants of the Cloudland Luxurious Hotel, which was here in the late 1800s. So getting up here must have been interesting. And normally we'd have a view right here, but Mother Nature has decided I don't get a view. That's okay. I got going at 7:30 a.m. this morning, trying to beat the rain to my next campsite. Hey there. How are you doing? So you can see I got my pack cover on, and you can kind of see the atmosphere I'm hiking in, and that's been my day. It's Saturday on day 2, as you probably know. I just left Stan Murray shelter where I had a lunch snack. I left there just before noon, and there's this tent site with water about 4.1 miles from that shelter, so I've already made a little bit of headway there, and that's probably where I'm going to set up for the night. That'll get me there around 2 p.m. Talking to other hikers, and when I did have coverage looking at the weather forecast, the consensus is that the rain's going to hit about 3 and really come down heavy around 4. So kind of a risk reward thing. I would love to have gotten to Hump Mountain to see if I could catch a sunrise tomorrow, but that's another 1.5 miles. Will I beat the rain there? Do I want to risk it? Yes, I can set my tent up in the rain. Yes, I've done it before, but it's not preferred. About 3:30 now. I made it to that campsite that I mentioned was 4.1 miles away. Got here around 2 o'clock, and it was already raining pretty hard. So my pants got soaked. I did have rain pants, and I didn't put them on. I was kind of, back and forth on putting them on. I probably should have, but the rest of me stayed pretty dry. I got the tent up in the rain, and it's mostly dry on the inside right now. I am wearing my thermals, and I'm inside my sleeping bag because it's 49 degrees and the wind's blowing really, really hard. So yeah, life on the trail, good times. Made it a total of 11.1 miles a day. Yesterday's decision to go 12.6 was a good decision. It gave me those options today. I was able to get that 11.1 out today, and now tomorrow I've only got 7 miles to go, or maybe I did 11.2 today. Whatever. Here's my hiking shirts, and they're a little bit damp. If you remember last night's trail hack, they'll end up inside the sleeping bag with me. That one's pretty damp right there. You know I'm going to want to wear them tomorrow on the way out, so I got a couple hours before they need to go inside the sleeping bag. You can hear the rain starting to come down now, and the reason I decided to stop here, well, it was raining when I got here, but there's also last I checked on the radar and talking to other hikers who also stopped at this location, the worst is yet to come. Probably about an hour and a half from now it's supposed to hit really hard. So I'm glad to be inside my tent. Down here is some stuff that's maybe gonna dry or maybe not. There's my rain pants that I did not wear, but I need them. I'm glad I have them. I just had to go out and use a tree. We'll just leave it like that. And I'm glad I was able to wear these in my raincoat. So let's talk about that trail hack. Open up right here. If you look inside my boots, I don't know if you can tell, but they're a little bit wet. Those are 2 large sandwich bags. When I got here, the socks I was wearing was a little bit wet. I now have some dry socks on, and I put these sandwich bags around my dry socks and then into my boots, and I don't have to worry about getting my socks wet again. Yeah, my boots might still be wet when I hike out tomorrow, and I'm certainly not going to hike out with those sandwich bags in there, but at least tonight I can have, you know, dry socks if I need to walk around outside. I do not carry camp shoes. If you're someone who does, you may not need to do this trail hack, but anyhow, it works really well for me. In the unlikely event that you did not know what a vestibule area is, that's this area outside the main body tent. The main body tent is right around in here. Here's the vestibule area. You can see underneath my pants I've got my food bags. That's where all my cooking utensils are. I was able to stop right before we got here and fill up with water. Those are all full of water right there. So I've got plenty of water for cooking tonight. And I'll be cooking right in this area right here, and still need to be very careful, but it's not like I'm cooking inside the main body tent, which I would never ever do. So should be an adventurous next couple of hours as the really heavy rain is on its way. And good morning. It's about 7:30 a.m. I'm at a campsite where a lot of people made it to last night. Most of these are through hikers. I do know one couple that's a section hiker. And right up here is the Appalachian Trail. I'm packed up and ready to go. So let's hit the trail. Last day on a 30.8 mile section hike over the weekend. And if you're keeping track, if you wanted to donate to one of my charities per mile, you could just use 30 miles. Leave the 0.8 to me. So it's not supposed to rain today. Sun's out, not many clouds, so I think that's accurate. I'm still wearing my raincoat because it's a little chilly. It's 39 degrees as I hike out, and so I get going and get warmed up, I'll probably strip that off. In case you have never hiked in the cold, that's what you want to do. You want to dress in layers so you can strip them off, because the last thing you want to do when it's cold is start to sweat, because then you'll get cold and you can't get warm, and that'll be because you get your bottom layer all wet. So another trail hack there, if you will. It's kind of more of a knowledge thing for when you're out in the cold in general. You want to dress in layers. I only got a little less than 7 miles to my car. Parked at Highway 19E at a hostel. Then I'll be heading home after a fun weekend. If you call hiking and camping in the rain fun, that is. Today is Sunday, April 11th, which means today is my birthday. Wanted to be out on the Appalachian Trail on my birthday, and I accomplished that. Hiking out on my birthday. Let's see. Yeah, I turned 54 today. Pretty young still. Try to keep up.